Hey, today is going to be pretty interesting. I'm going to talk about Dogtooth, To Catch a Thief, and Garfield. One is a really surrealist film, one is a classic film by a much loved director that I didn't really care for, and the other one is a bad movie, but I'm going to say some good things about it. First up is Dogtooth. This is a 2009 Greek film written and directed by this guy. I've seen a number of his films, and if you're unfamiliar with him, he takes a surrealist approach to kind of a regular subject, and then it really just pushes that subject kind of to its extreme ridiculous extent in order to have like a unique view of whatever the subject matter is. This one is about kind of like an overly protective father, and it's just kind of about how like parents have this insane control over children, if you kind of really think about it. And yeah, it was pretty great. Out of all the handful of movies of his that I've seen, I like The Lobster the most, but I think I like this one the second most. I don't know, it just kind of worked for me because it's so weird and so great. It's a very quiet movie, so some might mistake it as a slow movie, but it's really not a slow movie. And I just liked all like the weird ways that like they just went about stuff. I don't know, I just like so much of this movie, like so many little things. What I particularly liked was how like even though it's one of this director's first films, you can still see his unique voice, because this director has a very unique way that he has his actors talk that's like it's very not real, but like you can definitely see his style just like all over this movie. And it's just, I was surprised because like it also being in just a different language, I wasn't expecting to like be able to really see his unique touch so clearly as I was. And even though I very much so enjoy this movie, I don't recommend it unless like you're in for like a very surreal, weird experience. Like if you've seen any of these other films, it perfectly goes along with them, except for The Favorite. The Favorite's kind of more of like his most mainstream movie. This one is more in line with The Killing of a Sacred Deer and The Lobster. Whether or not you are interested in checking out this movie, I would definitely recommend looking up Dogtooth dance scene on YouTube, because it's probably my favorite scene from the movie. It's so great. It's so wonderful and just ridiculous, but it also like perfectly encapsulates what this movie is in just like its awkwardness, and it's so good. Just do yourself a favor. It's an experience to watch that dance scene, and it's well worth it. So yeah, so I don't necessarily recommend the movie, but I do recommend you watch that video. Next up is To Catch a Thief. This is a 1955 Hitchcock film, and it stars Cary Grant and Grace Kelly. I had to look at it because I kept messing up their names. With the title of this movie, I assumed this was going to be more of a thriller, like it's, we're trying to catch a thief, and it's going to be all exciting and stuff. But I was mistaken. This movie is about a 25-year-old, a gorgeous, beyond gorgeous 25-year-old woman who spends most of the runtime throwing herself at a 50-year-old man who's just wrinkly and old looking. And the whole reason she's throwing herself at him is because he didn't immediately start hitting on her. Because that's a great reason to bang someone, because they're not interested in you. Yes, that's definitely good thinking. I love this writing. But even ignoring that, I was kind of disappointed with a lot of things with this movie. I know it's the 50s, so I'm not like expecting modern action scenes, but still, there was a car chase, and I've seen more films from the 60s that have like an action scene in it, and those ones are intense and they feel like an action scene. Yes, they're a little dated, they have, the rear projection stuff, but like, it still feels intense, whereas this movie was just like, we're watching a woman just like go for like 5 minutes, and that wasn't entertaining. Also, there was blackface in this movie, and that was really weird. It wasn't, like painted on blackface. It was people at a costume party just like dressing up in like a black bodysuit meant to be a black person, and it was weird. And it wasn't even just like background characters. It was the main character. It was Cary Grant was doing it, and it was not good. With that still, I didn't hate this movie. It was okay, I guess. Yeah, no, I know a lot of people are like Hitchcock did no wrong, but not a fan. Not a fan of this one. And lastly is Garfield. This is a 2004 movie starring Bill Murray. The reason I decided to watch this movie is because it was today. I was going to go for a walk with one of my friends, and so I wanted to watch something short before I went on the walk. And I also wanted to make sure it was a movie from not the current decade or the last decade, but the aughts and earlier, just because I'm trying to watch, those are my two biggest categories right now. I've watched the most movies from the 2020s and the 2010s, so I want to, try to get a little older. And this movie perfectly fit that category. And it's not a good movie. I knew that going in. I went in with the expectation that this was going to be really bad. That was no surprise. But what I was surprised about were the things that I liked about it. First off is Jennifer Love Hewitt. Yep, she's great. I also really like the all the live action animals. Like the main dog in it was super adorable. I just wanted to like pick him up and scrunch him. He was just so cute. But that does lead me to the thing that I didn't like about it was how like Garfield is CGI and all the other animals are live action. They really should have just done either all CGI or all live action. They shouldn't have mixed. It really didn't look good. Garfield's design was a choice, but it's whatever. The movie was definitely not funny. Like I don't think I laughed once, but like it definitely kept my attention for reasons. It's a good reason. And honestly too, like the movie's so short. It's only 80 minutes long. Like for like a second, I was like, oh man, this movie's kind of long. How much is left? Oh, the movie's done? Oh, okay. Never mind. This movie's like just the right length. I take back the thing I said a second ago. It hit the end right when it needed to. And I will say there's a lot of ways you could have improved this movie. Making it funny definitely would have helped. But also I think I really like the times when Garfield was interacting with the other animals. They definitely, it was fun. Obviously, whenever he was interacting with was great as well. But the animals were really fun. I hope to never watch this movie again. I don't recommend it. It's not really worth it unless like you just want to, look at something pretty every now and again. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Dogtooth sitting at number 26 in the quite liked category. And then we have To Catch a Thief sitting at number 45 in the meh category. And then bringing up the rear is Garfield, 10 lower, at number 55 in the meh category as well. And that is out of a total of 65 movies so far this year.